Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Alright, so before we begin, I must ask you to subscribe. So if you haven't subscribed or you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button so that we can help each other grow. Okay, so if you have subscribed already, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If you haven't, please, this is your time to subscribe. Let me give you 2 seconds to do that. Okay. All right, so hopefully you have hit that subscribe button. Okay, so I'm here on this page tests here, and I want to move this view to mark and marked. So let's come back to our text editor here, and let's go to the tests view right here. And we need to just copy everything the way it is. So copy that, and let's create another view, one more view here. Refresh. On the views folder here, I'm just going to create a new file. Oh, somebody commented in the comment section where copying of files is easier if you just duplicate the files, but unfortunately, that requires me to go to the containing folder and duplicate and then rename it. But sometimes it's just easier to just click copy and create a new file. So regardless, whatever is faster for you, that's okay. So here what I do is create a new file in the views folder, paste this information, save. And I want to save this as -mark .view.php, and yes, enter. Now this is going to require tests here, but that's okay for now. Let's just change a few things here. Tests to mark. Okay, that's okay. You can put this title any way you want so that your teachers can understand what's going on, but this is fine for me. Otherwise, everything else remains exactly the same. So let's click on to mark, and there we go. So you see we have tests to mark, and this is what we get. Okay, cool. Now, there are a few errors here because some of these things do not exist, right? But we can't start changing this until we make a duplicate of this file. So this file is this one, tests. So let's find it. This is tests.inc. So I'm just going to copy everything from here, and just as usual, right click and save. And then I'll save this as to mark. This is the same as test view, test inc, but then we're going to change this view to inc here, inc to mark.inc.php, and come back. Let me close tests.inc because I may end up changing it. So here it's going to be to mark. And by the way, in the controller, to mark controller, where did I put the crumbs? Yeah, this one should have been an underscore actually, because this is for the URL, so it has an underscore there. Anyway, if I refresh, I still get the same error. This is to mark view. It references the to mark inc, which is this one. So now I can start editing this thing here. So where is it complaining? So it's complaining that in the to mark inc on line 21 we have a problem. So let's see, line 21 right here. So disabled, yeah or nay. So remember that the row we have loaded here is this one. Okay, this one right here. The only problem is it doesn't have the test name. Okay, let me come back here for a second, go to the toMark.php. If I do a show toMark, like this, you will see what we have in this row. So what we have is really this, just these things here, the ones that are in this table, and the user thingy here. What we really need as part of this is the row of the test itself. So we can get that using the test ID. So it's a simple process. If we come back to the right here, once we get the A, okay, which is this row, we can add to it before we add it to the overall thing. So once we know it's really an array, so what we can do is come down here, and if it is indeed an array, let me just do a show over here. I'll remove this whole thing. I just want to see if I can get the A. Oh, so wait a second. This should return an array of arrays. So why isn't... Anyway, let me do that. A0. Let me see if I'll get something from there. Okay, so there it is. That's cool. Now I just want to add one more row here, and I can do that by just doing this. Let's see. So we named this one A. So let's just we want to get a row of the actual test. So what I would do is, let's use the tests model, and instead of query, let's use first. And then what we're looking for is using the test ID and comma, and then let's use A. Now we know that we need to use a 0 because that's an array of objects, and that first item is really that all we're interested in, and we want to get its test ID like that. So the result of this, let's just name it B, shall we? Or we can name it, just for future reference, we can say test details. That makes more sense, doesn't it? So test details, and let's put that here to see that result. So back again, let's refresh. Okay, so these are the test details. Now this has become recursive because now every time we get something from using the test query like this, we end up getting all this information, the user details again, the class details again. So if you don't mind this is okay, not really a big deal. But if you mind, then you might want to use the DB directly and use the query, and that should reduce the amount of information we get. But these are computers, so not a big deal for them, so no problem. So what I would do is I'll just say test detail. I want to attach it to A before I attach A to this. So what I will do is I'm just going to say A, the very first item in A, and let me put an arrow and create a new property. I'm going to go this one, test underscore details, and surprise, surprise, and then paste, put details there. So I'm assuming that we did find some details, and I put them there, like so. That should do it. Okay. So if I now refresh, I still have these errors, but this time I have more detail. Now let me do the show here again, so that I show you what we really have now as the final result. So refresh. So this is what we have. We have one item that has the test details of the submission details, and also that has the user, or the user that actually submitted this. So that's cool. But then it has the test details themselves, and it shows the user who created the test and the class that it belongs to. So eventually these details may be useful if you want to show more detail. That's up to you, but you have them at your disposal, which is good. So all this information here. So we just need to redirect these guys to the right place, because look at this disabled should be there on the test details themselves, which is right here. And which other one is it complaining about? Test. The test name itself is right here. Okay, so we just have to point it in the right direction. So back here, let me remove this. So let's fix those errors so we don't see them anymore. So to mark ink, all we need to do now is, instead of just row disabled, we squeeze in test underscore details and then put another arrow. So I'm going to copy this, and same thing when we're asking for the test name. Where is that? That's on the... So the reason we're doing that arrow is we're getting this item and then that and then disabled and then test. So where is the test one complaining from? That's line 22. So 22 right here. So paste right there. That should solve our problem, and there we go. Okay, so this is not true. It wasn't created by this guy, so we should change this. Instead of created by, this is that taken by. So this test, or instead of taken by, we just say student, like that. Okay, so back here, let's refresh. So the test name is this, and the student is that one. And what details are more important here? We should look at that instead. This is when the test was taken. So taken, test taken on, maybe, yeah, let's go to date here, and date, I don't know, written or taken, I don't know. You can decide what you want here. It's entirely up to you. We need a submission date as well. So let me duplicate here. Maybe actually date submitted is more important. I don't think we need to know when they started writing. That might cause problems for the students. So maybe we ignore that. So the date submission is this one right here in the main row, submitted date. So let's try and change that from, where are the dates? Where is the date? Am I getting blind? Oh, there we go. So instead of date, this says what? Submitted date. So let's just put submitted underscore date. Now, because there is nothing there, it should write something like 1970, or because that's the default date. So, okay, so showing that is correct. It's just that because we don't have a date there. So we'll fix that real soon. And what else? We don't need to know whether it's active or not. We just need to know, let's see what we need to know. We know it's not marked since it's already here in this space. So tests to mark. So we know it's not marked. No need to show that. What else can we show? I think that's about it. So we don't need this active. We just need answered percentage. We need that. So let's see how we can get the answered percentage here. So get answered percentage. Now my ID in this case is for the current user. So this is unacceptable. So my ID will always be the raw user ID in this case. So copy that and paste it here, and let's remove that. That way we get an accurate number here. Oopsie. So this says undefined variable row on line 26. Where is this? How come it was working on the other side? What is going on here? So row user ID, if it's on profile, oh, that's it. Okay, I get it. So instead of row, it's test row instead. So let me do, wait a minute. The test row is this one, so user ID will be correct, so no problem. So test underscore row, and let's remove that again. And let's refresh. Okay, so answered 87%. So this test was answered 87%, so we can decide whether to mark it or not. Here, instead of this button here that just has a pointer, we can put something like mark this test. Okay, so mark this test. Cool. Now we also need to make sure these things are responsive. So if I go to responsive design here, and let me move the table. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so it is responsive. Did we add a responsive? Okay, we did. So it's all cool. Very nice. Okay, so mark this test. If I click here, I should go to the marking section, but it takes me to the single test, which is not correct, but we will fix that, no problem. And active, we don't need to see that at all. Yeah, we don't need that. So let me remove the active here so we can give more space to other disabled. We don't need this, so remove that and remove this. Is this? Make sure once you remove a tab TD, you remove the closing tag as well. Otherwise you have problems. So refresh. Yeah, the same way I have problems right now. So let me undo that and let me click TD. So it ends here. So let me just delete that here. Okay, so always be careful there. And variable active on line 21, unknown. Where is this? Wait, so I guess I deleted something else. Oh, I deleted the test name. Sorry about that. Let me move these to separate lines. That way I can easily delete the ones I want. Okay, so I should delete this one that says active. I deleted a whole line of things. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is enough information for this teacher. Yeah. Now let's fix this submitted thing so that it shows us the date when things were submitted. And then we make sure that when we click here, we go to the right place. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.